خب با عرض سلام خدمت شما عزیزا، بعد از یک آهنگ زیبایی از حاجی صاحب جواجان قاضیار دوباره در خدمت شما عزیزا هستیم با برنامه خود. دوستا و عزیزا، جوانایی که هر سوالی که دارین از اسما جان در این مورد کاری و آکادمی، شما میتونین که به نمبرهای صفحه تلفن کنین، زنگ بزنین و خودتان سوالاتتان مطرح کنین. البته تا پیش از اینکه پروگرام به ختم میرسه وقت دارین، میتونین که سوالاتتان مطرح کنین و اسما جان برای شما جواب سوالاتتان میگوید. و در هفته آینده که انشالله برنامهشان شروع شد و خودشان تدریس شروع کردن، باز نمبرهای تلفنی که شما به صفحه میبینین میتونین سوالاتتون رو تکست مسیج کنین برای ما براشان فوروارد میکنم، یا ای که ایمیل کنین، در زیر اونجا نوشته شده هر کوشن یا کامنت که دارین در اون ایمیل آدرسی که به خود اسما جان پیغام میرسه ایمیل کنین و انشالله که در برنامه ها و تاپیک های برنامه خود که در نظر میگیره اسما جان برای شما انشالله که جوابایتان حتما میگن انشالله. خب اسما جان، how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great, thank you. How are you feeling?
That's good, perfect. I'm very happy to have you today on our guest, and then this is really good for all our community. I'm proud of you.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Asma Jan, why are you tips or advice or for education?
Yeah, so I have a lot of tips, especially for first generation students who need to figure out like the new systems in whatever country, especially America. That's where I have the most knowledge. Again, I would say, early on, if you see that your kid has a lot of potential, try to find whatever specialized programs within their middle school or elementary school is available. Here in Utah, we have the ELP program, but in other states, there might be other programs. So I would, talk to the teachers, and see what your children like to do. I found that there's 3 major things that a person has that builds them into who they are. What they like to do as a kid, what their dreams are, and the people and the support they have around them. And I, as a child, I was very interested in science and math. And I was lucky to have, amazing teachers who supported me, gave me books, gave me extra lessons when I wanted to. My mom was always there. She always took me to the library. She took me to museums, to like art places, to anywhere where I could learn and like grow and develop as a person. In regards to like middle school, giving them a foundation, giving them a hobby early on is really important. Teaching a second language, learning an instrument, learning how to play a sport, something to keep them active and to keep them healthy mentally and physically is really important. In high school, this is a very big time for someone. There's a lot of change. It's a bigger area, and making sure that they, have really good friends who are supportive of them, or who are on the same level as them, academically, and are focused with, their grades, having good hobbies, having, great mentorship with each other is really important. Making sure, again, to see if there's any like learning programs where there's also like concurrent programs where, again, you can take college classes in high school. You don't pay extra. It's just part of the program. It's such a great way to save money, to get ahead, and to be more prepared for your college and university education. That's really important. Volunteering, especially in high school, is a really great way to show your community, as well as when you apply for scholarships, that you want to be someone helpful and beneficial. So, at least volunteering, maybe 5 hours a week, from your 9th grade until your 12th grade at any organization, anything that's helpful towards other people or other, animals, childcare, health, art, anything is a great way to show your community as well as universities that you're someone who wants to be part of society in a beneficial and positive way. I would also start looking at programs at universities and for scholarships in your 10th and 11th grade. Don't start in your 12th grade, that's too late. Most people, when they're in 12th grade, they apply for the programs, they apply for the scholarships, and they know by the mid-year, by November, that they're getting something. So you need to make sure to do your research ahead of time. Make sure you get to know your teachers, at least 1 or 2, so you can have really good recommendations. Help them, be a TA, like a teaching assistant, You know, make sure to know your principal, talk to your counselor, see what kind of programs that they know from previous students who've had help. You know, find out about summer programs. I was only able to do the SEED program where I got to work in a chemistry lab because of my chemistry teacher. She saw that I had a lot of potential. You know, I always came after school to study with her, to ask her questions, and she was like, you know, you have a lot of potential, and I want to give you this opportunity where you can get a grant and you can, you know, study up at the University of Utah in your 11th grade, and you can learn how a real lab works and be part of that process and do your own research and write your own report. So those are some of the things that I think are very important.
That's great. Yes. Can you tell us a little bit about the credit repairs? Like you can like help people for the credit repair, right?
Yeah, so credit repair, like your credit score and your report.
Yes.
Yeah, so for anyone who is just starting out, I'll start with people who don't have any credit.
Right.
The number one thing you need to do is open up a checkings account, make sure to have a job that you've worked for at least a year, and open up a small credit card. And a lot of people think when they open that credit card that they need to use it all the time, they need to use 100% of it and pay it off. That's wrong. A lot of people don't realize you should only be using about 30% of your credit. So if you get you know, a credit card for $100, you should only be using about $30 every month and paying it off at the end of the month. You know, sometimes something happens and you need to use more of it, and that's okay, but make sure to pay it off at the end of the month, always on time, or else you'll pay interest, your credit score will go down. So again, that 30% mark is where you need to be, and that's the best way to keep your credit score above like 600. And I kind of want to talk about the range. So most people start off with 0. Once they open a credit card, they usually get a score about, you know, around 500, 550. And then as long as they keep a job for more than a year, make sure to pay their credit card on time and only like use about 30%. After a year, your credit score could go to about 700, and the max credit score is 800. So having a credit score of 700 or more means you can open loans for cars, you can get a mortgage if you have a full-time job, you can get loans for, you know, a business very easily and very simply just by making sure, you know, you start with a credit card, maybe you have a fixed loan later on. So a fixed loan is a loan where, let's say you need to buy a car for $2,000. So you get a fixed auto loan. So you have that $2,000 and you spend it all at once for that loan, for that car. And then every month you need to pay a certain amount. I would say don't wait, you know, if they say, you know, you can have 2 years to pay it off or 48 months, pay it off within a year, pay it off within 6 months. However fast you can pay it off, the less interest you pay, as well as the higher your credit score will go up, because one, they see you're making payments, but also they see that you're someone reliable, you're someone who can pay off something quickly and without any, you know, issues, without late payments.
That's perfect. Yeah, that's a good, very good information. It's helpful, very helpful. And can you tell us a little bit about the mortgage?
Yeah, so for mortgages, I'm actually in the process of learning about mortgages myself, because I know it's a big investment, but it's also a very important long-term investment. Most people think, you know, buying a house is something that's going to be very challenging, very time-consuming, and it can be, but only if you look at it that way, and only if you aren't able to get your credit score to above 700. So again, start with a credit card, make sure to stay within that 30%, try to open up a fixed loan, it doesn't matter the amount, and make sure you have a full-time job for at least 2 years. They expect a full-time job, minimum usually 6 months, but if you can have a full-time job for 2 years with good recommendations from your employees, or your employers, your management, or your supervisors, that will be really helpful for your credit. Making sure, you know, if you have a car, making sure to pay your insurance on time. If you're renting, pay your rent on time, pay your utilities on time, your cell phone on time. Pay any kind of bill you have on time. Don't get behind. You know, don't worry about buying unnecessary things. You're gonna need to have a down payment. There are some financial places where you can get 100% financing, where they'll pay for the entire house for you, give you an entire mortgage loan. But most places they expect a down payment of, you know, around 10 to 15%. So let's say you were going to buy a $200,000 house, for example. usually a down payment would be, you know, between 10,000 to 25,000. So if you want a house, you need to start saving up for that down payment immediately. You're going to need to also take here in Utah we call it a HUD or HUD certification. It might be different in other states or other countries, but it's basically where you go and take a class where you learn about the finances needed for a house. You learn about the different types of houses, and it's something mandatory that you need to have. I would also say, you know, try and find out if there's financial advisors or financial mortgage programs within your state. We have one here in Utah that's called the IDA Savings Program, where someone for free can get a financial advisor who helps them, you know, manage their money, you know, create some kind of a chart or Excel file where you budget yourself every month. You see what you're spending your money on, how much money you earn at the beginning, how much money you have left. You know, have another tab for your debt. See, you know, how fast can you pay off all your small debts? How fast can you, you know, get your percentages, your APR down, get your credit score up? Those are all important and necessary things before even thinking about buying a house or even getting a mortgage. So.
That's great, beautiful. And my last question, who is supporting you to doing all this?
So I have had so much support, especially my mother. She was the one who was always, you know, by my side, who supported me, who, you know, accepted all of my goals and my dreams and made sure that, you know, all my progress within my education was fulfilled. After that, I would say like my teachers, my professors, my counselors, they were all people who, you know, supported me, you know, gave me advice, gave me scholarships or grants. They were always there to make sure that I was prepared for everything that I needed. My family in general, no matter where they were, they always, you know, they called me, they gave me advice, they, you know, they said, they gave me morale and courage, and they supported me, and they said, you know, you are in a place where you can continue and grow, and we want to be there for you and give you all of the advice we have, even if we're in different countries or in different places. So those were the main three that really supported and gave me the motivation I needed to be where I am right now.
Okay. Okay, Asma John, if you have any messages, go ahead and tell for our people, and inshallah next week you're gonna start your own show, and then thank you so much for interview today, and it was very beautiful, very nice to having you today on the show. So if you have any messages to our people, please go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say, you know, everyone is going through something, but I believe that we're all very strong. You know, we're very resilient people, and it's our time to achieve everything that we need to achieve. You know, financially, educationally, societally. You know, for our families, for our community, we need to come together and be united and be strong, and look for opportunities that will help us to grow and benefit. You know. Don't think because, you know, you're in one spot today, you can't be in another spot tomorrow. Because I used to be like that when I was younger. I would always say, you know, what are my opportunities? But when you find the right people, when you find the right connections, when you're open and you're willing to, you know, try a million things and talk to as many people and just be strong, that's all that's important. And I feel like as long as we can do that, we will be, you know, amazing people. We'll do great things for the world, and that we should always remind ourselves that how great we are and how important our whatever we do in this world is. So.
That's great. Couple messages from Facebook. هما جان سخی سید تبریک به اسما جان عزیز. هما جان سخی گفتن های اسما جان. لیلا جان امید گفتن سلام تبریک اسما جان موفق باشید.
Thank you so much.
آقای اکرم حیدری جبارخیل رئیس تلویزیون بهار همچنان گفتن که واقعا که احساس خوب می نمایم که جوانان تحصیل کرده ما می خواهند با تلویزیون های افغانی خود همکاری می نمایند. برای اسما جان گرامی موفقیت های بزرگ آرزو می دارم. دیگه انشالله که خوش و آرام باشین اسما جان. تشکر از اینکه امروز با ما بودین. انشالله که در هفته آینده ساعت 7 شب به وقت کالیفرنیا هر شنبه شما را در صفحه تلویزیون می داشته باشیم و پروگرامتان خودتان پیش میبرین. تشکر از شما.
تشکر. خداحافظ.
خداحافظ شما. سلامت باشین. خب دوستا و عزیزای گرامی، با اسما جان هم آشنا شدین و در زیر صفحه ایمیل آدرسی که نوشته شده برای ازمی است که سوالات اگر چیزی از اسما جان داشته باشین حتما نوشته میکنین. برای ما کم از کردیت سکور و کردیت ریپیر معلومات دادن، کم درباره مورگیج و خانه معلومات دادن امروز و رزمی خود دربارهش گفتن و خود معرفی کردن و این برای ما جای افتخار است که جوانان تحصیل کرده ما با ما میپیوندند در تلویزیون و کوشش میکنن که اینمی چیزی را که خودشان نالج دیدن، اینمی نالج را که دارن همراه دیگه عزیزا شیر کنن و شریک بسازن. این برای ما بزرگترین افتخار هست. و پیش از اینکه از پیش شما مرخص شوم دوستان، روز چهارشنبه ما یک برنامه اختصاصی دیگر داریم که یک برنامه ساز دیگر همراه شما ایزا معرفی میکنیم. روز چهارشنبه ساعت 7 شب به وقت کالیفرنیا میشه که 7 صبح به وقت هندوستان و افغانستان میباشه. بزرگوار برینجان نام دارن. برینجان یک نوجوان 10 ساله است که بسیار یک شاهکار آفریده و این بزرگوار بسیار بزرگواری کرده. به این خاطر همراه از این بزرگوار ما روز چهارشنبه یک مصاحبه می داشته باشیم و شما مصاحبهش هم میشنوین. عالم یک بخشی از اعلانش هسته که اعلانی که درست شده برای ما روان شده براتون نشر میکنم. امیل از شما در فیسبوک ها و برنامه لایف امیل رقم میفهم که تماشا میکنین که برینجان کی است، چی کار میکنه و مصاحبه روز چهارشنبه شان هم همراه که ما می باشه انشالله که شما با خبر می باشیم. خیلی بریم امی 2 دقیقه اعلان تماشا کنیم، با دقت ببینین بشنوین، دوباره برمیگردیم.
سلام دوست. سلام. هیچ ندیدم. چی وقت آمدی؟ خواستم ترک بپرسم. وقت دیدم یک چیز سه داشتی. چی است؟ بله، این چنل بر این ستوریز قصه های دری و انگلیسی هم اندازه و تنها قصه هم اندازه. داخل ویدیو هم با درس زندگی میده. اوه چقدر خوبش. میتونم که ما هم سایلش کنم؟ اگر میخوای چنل سابسکرایب کن و زنگوله فشار بده که وقت ویدیو نو آمد برات مسیج بیاد که ویدیوشون اون وقت سعی کنی. حال میشه که جو سعی کنی؟
سلام دوستای عزیز، امیدوار هستم که ویدیوم خوشتان آمده باشه و یک پکت گم ساعت 8 بجه شام در روز چهارشنبه ما و کاکا سهیل مصاحبه داریم. یادتان نره که مصاحبه ما را ببینی و اگر کدام سوال یا خواهش از پیش ما داشته زنگ ده. بال خداحافظ و چهارشنبه ساعت 8 بجه شام میبینیم.
سلام دوست. سلام. هیچ ندیدم. چی وقت آمدی؟ خواستم ترک بپرسم. وقت دیدم یک چیز سه داشتی. چی است؟ بله، این چنل بر این ستوریز قصه های دری و انگلیسی هم اندازه و تنها قصه هم اندازه. داخل ویدیو هم با درس زندگی میده. اوه چقدر خوبش. میتونم که ما هم سایلش کنم؟ اگر میخوای چنل سابسکرایب کن و زنگوله فشار بده که وقت ویدیو نو آمد برات مسیج بیاد که ویدیوشون اون وقت سعی کنی. حال میشه که جو سعی کنی؟
سلام دوستای عزیز، امیدوار هستم که ویدیوم خوشتان آمده باشه و یک پکت گم ساعت 8 بجه شام در روز چهارشنبه ما و کاکا سهیل مصاحبه داریم. یادتان نره که مصاحبه ما را ببینی و اگر کدام سوال یا خواهش از پیش ما داشته زنگ ده. بال خداحافظ و چهارشنبه ساعت 8 بجه شام میبینیم.
سلام دوست. سلام. هیچ ندیدم. چی وقت آمدی؟ خواستم ترک بپرسم.
خب دوستای عزیز، برینجان نموت یک کودک 10 ساله بسیار نام خدا هوشیار و بسیار زیاد نام خدا اما تو زرنگ براتون بگویم که ابتکار کرده ابتکارهایی را که کرده. البته در برنامه‌های خود ما همیشه برای شما عزیزا گفتیم که من هر روز از تقریبا ساعت 3 بجه به وقت کالیفرنیا کارتون به نشر میرسانم و فیلم است. فیلم‌ها به زبان فارسی البته نشر میشم. اکثر کارتونا اون شما میبینید که به زبان‌های دری بسیار کم است، به زبان‌های پشتو مثلا کم است. ما مجبور هستیم که زبان فارسی ایران استفاده بکنیم و به نشر برسانیم. و بر اینجان من نمیخوایم زیاد درباره ازی صحبت کنم، چرا که باز ما چهارشنبه اینترویو داریم، مصاحبه داریم همراه خودش، بعد خودش موضوعات ما سوال کنیم و اونا جواب بدن. و من اما قدر یک معلومات براتون دادم که نام خدا به می سن و سال خود یک ابتکار بسیار خوب را کردن که باز انشالله روز چهارشنبه بیشتر هم از ابتکارش آشنا میشین و ما و شما باید این جوان و این کودک باید حمایت کنیم. تک تک ما و شما مسئول هستیم که یوتیوب چینلش حمایت کنیم و اینمی نوجوان باید قدر حمایت کنیم که کارهایش بهتر و بهتر و بهتر و بهتر شود و آینده بسیار درخشان و خوب را انشالله که داره. وقت شما ایزار بیشتر از این نمیگیرم. فردا ساعت 1 بجه ظهر به وقت کالیفرنیا با خبر هستیم که همراه مسعود جان صفا برنامه داریم و اعلانش هم از فیسبوک و تلویزیون نشر میشه اعلانات و امیدوار هستم که شما عزیزا حتما فردا ساعت 1 بجه منتظر برنامه ما با وقت کالیفرنیا انشالله باشین که برنامه مسعود جان صفا هست همراه ما. پس با می اعلان آریانا سویت از شما عزیزا خداحافظی میکنم و همگی شما را به خداوند بزرگ میسپارم. خدایا رو نگهدارتان.
تلفن 855